This is Hashtag Finance, presented to you by the Canadian Securities Exchange, the exchange for entrepreneurs. With your host, Anil Mall.
Welcome to another episode of Hashtag Finance. Today, I'm talking to Sue Ozdemir. Sue is the CEO of Exro Technologies, which is a CSE listed company. Sue, welcome to Hashtag Finance. How are you?
Good. How are you doing, Anil?
I'm doing good, as everything considering this time of the year being summer, as well as being in the middle of a pandemic. I hope you and your family are keeping well, and your team.
Yep, we're all doing very, very well.
Perfect. Sue, why don't we begin? We've obviously never hosted you on Hashtag Finance, so why don't we start by you talking to our viewers and listeners about Exro and what is it that you guys do? What's the vision?
Perfect. So we have technology that we like to call a new category into the power electronics market. So what we have is a new type of power electronics called a coil driver. It's a smart, intelligent coil driver, and it would replace the traditional inverter inside of a powertrain. So I love to say we make electric motors smarter through the power electronics.
That's a nice little summary to what you guys do. How have you guys been during this pandemic? Let's start off with that.
So we've actually been doing really well. I'm really proud of the team that surrounds me. They all came together, right at the beginning when we had kind of, real strict lockdown. We worked out some remote ability to be able to test remote and teamed up in teams of 2 to be able to continue to work. So we didn't see anything too much slowing us down. Here in Calgary, we opened up, towards the beginning of June, I believe it was. So our team's been working out of the office for about 2.5 months now. We have a great space. Very fortunate that our space, we're able, we have our own entry doors. We've got lots of space to social distance. So we're enjoying, being together, but still being able to stay apart from each other. So it's been really good. From a work perspective, we took it a little differently. We decided that, it's our job to continue to do the path that we put out in front of our shareholders, to keep executing just like we had planned. And, we'd have delays and we'd have other things, but as a leadership team, that just meant we had to be a little smarter about how we did it. So we've just been pushing along, and we've actually found, like I'm sure you found, a lot of people are available. So we've been spreading the word, talking to a lot of people, and we're pretty excited about where the rest of the year will take us.
Absolutely. Like you mentioned, it's been a long one for everybody. Everyone seems to be in front of a computer, having time to be able to find out about these companies and stuff like that. For us in general, these podcasts normally would be face-to-face. Either you were in Vancouver, I was in Calgary, or we met up at a conference where we did these. But, technology has been a big player and a big help to all of us moving, keeping our businesses going, to say. So you guys have been well, continuing with your business. 2019 was a huge year for you guys, proving your technology. And then obviously going into 2020, we all ended up with this pandemic, or in the pandemic, I should say. Yeah. You guys have a foundational dynamic power management system, is what you guys call it. Do you want to maybe talk to us about what that is?
Right. So we've done some rebranding. It's still ongoing. So we've had a couple of releases where we talk to the fact that we'll be going under some rebranding. So we do still internally call it a dynamic management system, but really what we're doing is making a new type of inverter. So we call it an intelligent coil driver. And that name comes from the fact that what we're utilizing is a physics of electric motors called coil switching. We didn't invent coil switching. That, like I said, that's the physics of electric motors. What we did was made it intelligent and took it into the 21st century. So we've called that our coil driver. We have a battery management system that falls under the same type of concept that's coming out of proof of concept this year. All of that, when you put that together, we were calling it our dynamic management system. Where we've kind of been going with our branding is, our mission is to use minimum energy for maximum results. So everything that we do is being smart with energy consumption. And we're really passionate about changing the way the world looks at energy consumption in the 21st century, being able to kind of help to make that transition so you can get the performance you need but do it in a smart way.
Got it. I know. Looking up some stats, the global electric vehicle market, I think it's close to 100 billion annually. They say it's forecast to grow, I think, close to $500 billion over by I think 2025, if I'm not mistaken. Where's Exro positioned within that ecosystem?
It's a staggering market. We've been doing our best to try to stay focused on continuing to put out a few more proof of concepts this year. Okay. That will allow us to be able to cover 85% of the traction motors that are in the mobility industry. We are completely versatile. So we can play in anything from a two-wheel electric bicycle to a bus. It's really more about the power rating, of course, so that we have enough to be able to test it, but it's more about the type of torque load that the application has. So we really need an application that requires a wide torque range. So you want to have a lot of torque while you're maintaining your speed or with speed. When we have that need and combination, what happens is currently on the market, those electric vehicle manufacturers, what they're doing is compensating. So they have one motor for that low end torque and then another motor for that high end speed, or alternatively, like with the new Porsche Taycan, they'll use a heavy mechanical 2-speed gearbox. By utilizing our technology, you'd be replacing the existing inverter, getting all those features that an inverter traditionally delivers to the motor in the powertrain, but you'd be adding electric gearing inside of the power electronics. So we believe we're first to market, and so it really doesn't matter to us. And it also doesn't matter. We can do battery electric, we can do hybrid, we can do hydrogen fuel cell. As long as there's a motor inside the powertrain, it's a good application for us.
So it's very scalable then. It'd be fair to say we can go from, the smallest motor to the biggest one, basically.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a couple of platform sizes that we customize off every time we do a powertrain. So there's about 4 to 5 sizes, but it is completely scalable, and it's, we're not redesigning from scratch every time we do it.
Got it. Sue, I know you're considered to be one of the proven leaders when it comes to innovation and manufacturing of electric motors. You've accomplished, I think it was close to 9 years at General Electric. You want to maybe talk to us about your background and how you got involved in this space?
Sure. So I want to kind of go back one step and say I grew up in an electric motor repair shop. My parents owned an electric motor repair shop growing up. So I've been working with electric motors since I was very young. It's part of my DNA. It's what I do. I've been fortunate to have been supported for a long time with my husband and my now adult children, and been able to take advantage of everything that GE offers its employees. So the ability to, I've relocated to the US and to all parts of Canada and taken those different roles. Thank you for the compliment. I've been surrounded by great teams that have helped me to get where I am today. And I worked as a Western Canada sales leader for GE, worked my way up through 5 promotions to a CEO of their business unit. And then I led the acquisition of our business to Wolong Electric out of China. And Exro approached me last summer. So I've been here for just under a year now, and asked me to join. And I did a lot of due diligence. I was pretty happy with where I was in my career. I took a look at the technology, and I saw that with a little bit of structure and good strategy and some good old-fashioned hard work, we could really make this disruptive for the industry.
Great. I know, you've been involved since you came on board here. What about some of your other team members? I know recently you guys welcomed, I hope I'm pronouncing his last name correctly. It's Richard Moe.
Yes, you are.
Okay. You guys brought him on board as the chief marketing officer for the company. He also has a background from GE. Is that correct?
He does. I have a few. In November, I brought on Josh Sobel. Okay. Josh is my chief commercial officer, and he was the mining segment leader for Siemens Canada when I recruited him in November. And I met Josh when I first started at GE. He's a mechanical engineer, and he was working out of our Peterborough plant. And he's been instrumental to what we've been doing in our commercial space and the ability to be able to sign the deals that we've signed. Josh has driven all of that strategy. And then last week I made the announcement about Richard Moe. This week I made the announcement about Richard Moe. And Richard was my director of marketing and digital strategy at GE. He stood alongside me as we did the acquisition to Woolong. So I'm very excited to have Richard join the executive team and to help us to take our strategies to the next level. Richard's also a mechanical engineer and an aerospace engineer. And I think that, that's not usual in a marketing position, but for us, the ability to be able to communicate technically is really important. So Richard was the final piece of my executive team. I have John Meekison, who was part of Exro before I joined, who's my CFO. And in May, I recruited in Eric Hoots, who hadn't worked with me at GE. I know I brought in a lot of GE people, but Eric is a lifetime career of manufacturing power electronics, specifically inverters in the automotive space. So we're pretty excited to be here in Calgary and to be able to execute this together.
It's great because it seems like every single person that you've mentioned brings a very strong aspect of their experience to your team.
Right. I'm a really big believer that leadership, strategy, technologies, they are as good as the people that surround you. And we have a phenomenal we have a phenomenal executive team here at Exro, but underneath them, we also have a phenomenal team of about 20 of us now that are putting out our designs and really making it happen every day.
That's great messaging, for everybody to hear. What about some of your partnerships? I know you guys have a few partnerships. There's C Electric. There's, I hope I'm pronouncing it correctly, Potencia Industrial from South America. Can you maybe talk to us about each of these and what role they play and what's expected out of that?
Yeah, it's been a really fantastic part of joining Exro and kind of going into the full clean tech segment is the partners that we partner with are people that are also passionate about making a more sustainable future for ourselves. So I'll start with Potencia just because it was one of the first deals. We have a PO that was placed with us last September from Potencia for $500,000 US. Potencia is a motor manufacturer based out of Mexico. They make motors and generators. They do custom work for tier 1 companies like GE. And what they really are about is that design, innovation, and then they are able to mass produce. They have a very large facility in Mexico City. They've been in business for over 100 years. And seeing all the pollution problems in Mexico City is a valley, so when the pollution comes in, it's quite severe. They decided that they really wanted to help the transition to electric vehicles. So they have developed technology which allows a retrofit of an existing combustion engine to an electric engine. So they're actually removing the combustion engine and converting them to electric vehicles. Their powertrain is called the Pronto Power, and it's the first flexible powertrain on the market, meaning that they can take any, Chevy Ram, convert it to electric. They can take any, Nissan sedan and convert it to electric with their design. So they've been converting and focused on commercial and municipal fleets. So working with the City of Mexico's taxis, working with different fleet companies to transform fleet and commercial vehicles. And so we've been working with them over the past 18 months to develop in 2 stages. Being that it was new technology, they wanted us first to deliver a customized driver specific to their technology. So it was a customized solution that Exro developed. That we delivered in June. It was a little bit delayed with COVID, but fortunately we put out a target to finish it by June. We delivered in June. They just released at the beginning of this week, but they've been testing. So far the testing is going fantastic, just as we expected it would. And they're going to continue testing through the end of October. At the end of October, we'll deliver to them the same driver, an inverter, but now it will be a coil switching driver. So an actual driver that allows them to do the gearing through the drive. They have over 1 million miles road tested with different vehicles in Mexico City. So this will allow us to have our first proof of concept in a vehicle with Potencia before the end of the year. Whether it's a City of Mexico taxi or a delivery truck is to be determined at the time, but it will be a vehicle by the end of the year. So we're all super excited. It's a major milestone for us. Definitely one of the top priorities that we live and breathe every day at Exro. And then we recently signed a partnership with, I'll kind of hit 3 others if we have time for that.
We've got plenty of time, please.
I'm excited about all of them, but Clean Seat Capital is a actually a Vancouver-based agricultural company that's developed a smart seeder. And the seeder, intelligently senses how you plant in the fields. And there's a cart behind it that carries all the weight. And there's a lot of things that are really important about that. And I know we don't look at agriculture as this big booming business, but there's still a large percentage of the agricultural industry that's driven through gas and other ways. And I think electrifying that, Graham, the CEO of Clean Seed Capital, likes to say he's going to electrify the agricultural industry. And so we're partnered with them to co-develop an electric seeder. And what's really important for us is that that's a huge piece of equipment, and we'll have some pictures and some news coming out about that hopefully in the coming weeks, and we'll be able to show everybody this huge piece of equipment. So you can imagine being able to do construction equipment and mining equipment, and that would give us a really big proof of concept. So that one's really exciting for us. We signed with Zero Motorcycle. Zero Motorcycle was one of the first electric motorcycle manufacturers to come to market. They're now one of the top, if not the top, electric motorcycle manufacturer based out of California. We signed with them about a month ago. We'll deliver that project in March. We'll deliver that project in March. And they'll go through a number of months for testing as well. So we hope to see our products in Zero Motorcycles before the end of the year. The end of 2021, the end of the year. And then the last deal is with C Electric. And, we are super, super excited about our partnership with the C Electric team. What C Electric has developed is technology to retrofit tier 1 automotive chassis to electric for commercial fleets. So they actually have a partnership with the likes of Ford, Hino, and Iveco. They purchase an empty chassis, and then through their network, they retrofit that chassis with their technology, which is an electric powertrain, and put it out on the road. And they have contracts in Australia with IKEA. While they are an Australia-based company, they do have a headquarters here in North America, in Los Angeles, where their CEO spends most of his time. And so we've been working with them for quite a few months. Our first project with them will be a delivery van, what's called a step-up delivery van. So like what you'd see for a company like IKEA, where they're delivering their product, or UPS or FedEx. And we'll deliver that project in the third quarter of next year. We're also working on some co-development with them around a new garbage truck that they're looking at. They already have a garbage truck in Australia, but being able to bring that garbage truck into the North American marketplace. So it's a class 6, 29-ton garbage truck. So we're excited about not only what we will deliver, but what the potential is for different products. And we continue to work with C Electric. The target right now is to deliver our proof of concept to them by the third quarter of next year.
Got it. I think earlier this year, you guys had a goal to announce a certain number of contracts. Am I correct? I think it was correct. 8 or 9?
It was 8 deals.
8 deals. Well, we're halfway through, and I think you've just mentioned 4 here. So I think
right.
you guys are definitely on track there.
Yeah, we've actually closed 7 of the 8 deals.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so we talked to 4 of them. We have a couple more with Motorino, Aurora, and Templar. So we've got 7 deals signed. So we have 1 more to go to meet our commitment. There's not any promises or guarantees, but of course we feel really confident. We have a very strong, robust pipeline, and Josh and the team and myself are doing everything we can to make sure that we meet that final one and meet our milestone for the year.
Perfect. I wanted to ask you, what's the shareholder sentiment been like? I'm sure you get plenty of emails and calls from them, but I'm sure they're quite proud of the team and what you guys have accomplished so far. But why don't you tell me about some of the feedback that you guys get?
Yeah, we've had overwhelming support. We've just finished a finance raise a couple of weeks ago where we got overwhelming support. Our shareholders have been very, very good to us. They keep engaged. We do our best to keep them informed and up to date, but it's thanks to their support that we're able to do what we're doing right now. And I would say we have really, really high, if not 100% level of support from our shareholders.
Yeah, it's not tough when you meet those milestones to build shareholder confidence. You say what you're going to do, you do it, and people want to join you for the success that you guys are creating.
Right, and we don't take that lightly. We have a really transparent business strategy. We meet and we talk about the goals that we're putting out to the market, that we're talking about. We track them under KPI gauges, and we openly discuss that, you know, we're doing everything we can to meet them, but if by chance something is amiss, it happens, this is business, we're not going to hit everything 100%. The important thing is that we're communicating that as soon as we know it. We want the market to know it. So I think we've got to, you know, everybody knows that. And so, yeah, you're right. We're having a pretty high success right now. We've been hitting every milestone we've put out there. So we're happy.
Congrats to you and your team for all of that hard work that you guys have been putting in, especially during, you know, this pandemic time where things get set back. You know, to see that you guys are full steam ahead is great. I wanted to also ask you, Sue, you know, you guys have a great technology. What's the reception like when you guys approach manufacturers or partners?
Yeah, so it's been good. They definitely, you know, it's new, it's first to market, so they're interested. There's some proof points that they're waiting to see. We've got this great proof of concept in an electric bike that we delivered to Motorino in December. Yeah. But what we really need is a larger proof of concept that shows that we can scale it into the different pieces of equipment. That's why we signed the different deals that we've signed. So we've got a pretty long waiting list that's waiting to see what we come up with in October with our next proof of concept. We found that the companies have been more than receptive, have been willing to provide us a lot of information to be able to work with us. And again, they're driven by the same bigger goal. So, you know, with the current pandemic, it's been a little tough in the sense that priorities needed to shift. You know, they've had, you know, teams and families to think about first and foremost, but they've also got revenue targets and financial metrics that have to take priority. We haven't seen anybody cutting R&D plans, and so we've been able to continue those conversations. And if anything, for the stage we're at, it's given us time to really load up ourselves with a lot of data points and a really compelling value proposition for them. So again, as we come into the next few months, we are pretty excited about where we are. And I think the customer demand is just going to be off the charts in the coming years.
Perfect. Where can our listeners and viewers find out more about the company? Are you guys on social media? What's your website?
Right. So we just started a couple months ago. We started a pretty intensive marketing campaign. So our website is currently up and running, but we're also redeveloping some of the design. So we encourage you to keep going back and checking it. And by the end of the month, you'll enjoy some new platforms. So I would definitely encourage everybody to come visit us at www.exro.com. And of course, for anybody that's in the Western Canada market or anywhere in Canada where you can travel right now, if you're ever in the Calgary area, we welcome you to come and have a ride on our test bike. It's a lot of fun, and it lets you see just how smooth and dynamic our technology is, and our center is willing to host you. So we look forward to that.
I'm going to take you up on that.
All right, anytime.
when I do get to come out to Calgary, which is hopefully soon enough, I'll make sure to come check it out. Maybe we can do another interview while we're out there, meet the team as well.
Sure.
Sue, I wanna leave the floor with you. I know we've talked a lot about your partnerships, the overall industry, what you guys are up to, your milestones. Why don't you talk to the viewers about what's next for the company and what they can expect in the coming months?
Right. So again, I've been here for 11 months. So most of my 11 months has really been positioning myself. So putting everything in place. So I just like to tell everybody, I really think as we get into September, October, and November, we have a lot of expectations of ourselves, both from commercial deals and technology proof of concepts that we hope to be able to share with the marketplace. And all of the background and all of the process and system is in place for that now. So really now we're just running. And so just keep an eye on us as we come into that early fall time. I think it will really be worth it.
Great. Excellent message. For anybody watching and listening, please check the show notes. We will have links to not only the CSE page for XRO, but also XRO's website, the social media links and stuff like that. So just check the show notes and everything will be there. If you like this type of content, I would highly recommend you, or we'd love it if you were to hit subscribe and like our content, and feel free to share it if you find it informative. Sue, again, I loved hearing about your background, how you started off as a kid working with motors and built that passion into this working not only with GE, but now with Exro Technologies. I look forward to hosting you again and also coming out to Calgary and testing out the bike, as you mentioned.
Anytime.
Great.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Enjoy your weekend.
Care.
This has been an episode of #Finance brought to you by the Canadian Securities Exchange. Please feel free to hit like and share this content and hit subscribe if you haven't already.